Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we'll be having a Bhagavad Gita class now. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braje Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braje Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. So today we're reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 72. Thank you all so much for attending the Bhagavad Gita class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, I'll recite the verse and then we can all take turns. I mean, we'll do responsive and then take turns. Kachit eta shrutam partha tvayekagrena chetasa Kachit ajnana sammoha Pranastaste Dhananjaya Kachit etat shrutam partha Tvayakagrena chetasa Kachit ajnana sammoha Pranastaste Dhananjaya Kachit etat shrutam partha Tvayakagrena chetasa Kachit ajnana sammoha Pranastaste Dhananjaya. Does anyone want to try? Kachit etat shrutam partha Tvayakagrena chetasa Kachit ajnana sammoha Pranastaste Dhananjaya Kachit etat shrutam partha Tvayakagrena chetasa Kachit ajnana sammoha Pranastaste Dhananjaya Kachit etat shrutam partha Tvayakagrena chetasa Kachit ajnana sammoha Pranastaste Dhananjaya. So we'll go word for word. Kachit, weather. Etat, this. Shrutam, heard. Partha, O son of Partha. Tvaya, by you. Eka agrena, with full attention. Chetasa, by the mind. Kachit, weather. Ajnana, of ignorance. Sammoha, the illusion. Pranasta, dispelled. Te, of you. Dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. O son of Partha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Purport. The Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita in its proper perspective. If not, the Lord was ready to re-explain any point or the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. Actually, anyone who hears Bhagavad Gita from a bona fide spiritual master like Krishna or his representative will find that all his ignorance is dispelled. Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book written by a poet or fiction writer. It is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any person fortunate enough to hear these teachings from Krishna or from his bona fide spiritual representative is sure to become a liberated person and get out of the darkness of ignorance. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Tapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Rupa Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padas Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Shri Lalita Mishanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Manchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Karmankana Swami Niti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Gurudas Jaileta Swami Niti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasiti Adeshtarine. So thank you all for coming to the Bhagavad Gita class. Has everyone here read Bhagavad Gita?
I've read little bits of it.
A little bit? Nice.
I find it quite difficult to read them sometimes. You know, like the words and everything. But I'm still learning.
Everyone.
It's a lovely book to read.
It is very good, very nice book to read. Which part are you on? Would you say?
I'm on the first part.
Okay,
So
nice.
I try to read as much as I can.
That's really nice that you're persevering, even though it's difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
I pray that through these classes that we do, we can make it a little bit easier to understand Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Has everyone else heard of Bhagavad Gita? Heard? But not read yet. Okay. Okay, that's nice. So this verse that we've just read is actually the last verse that Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is a little bit of a conversation inside a conversation. It's Krishna and Arjuna speaking, but it's in the mind and sight of Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra. So they are speaking about what is happening on the battlefield, and Sanjaya is able to see through mystic vision. So he can see that there's this battle happening, and Krishna and Arjuna are speaking, and he's retelling every single thing that Krishna and Arjuna have said. So this is the last word of Krishna in this book, and this is leading up to this was the entire story of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna already gave Arjuna all the instructions of how to perfect his life. So a bit of background. Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra in the fight between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Now Arjuna is feeling very, He's caught in anxiety, but that's a light word for it. Arjuna is very much distressed about his duty because he's now fighting a war against his family. Anybody had to do that in their life? Fight a war against your family. We think just our job, our going to work is like a little bit of a fight for us sometimes, but this is a real big fight. Arjuna is tasked with killing his family members. So he's in anxiety and he's saying, how can I do this? So at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, he's expressing his concern to Krishna, how can I do this? And then he basically says, I can't do it, Krishna. Please tell me what to do. Now I am your disciple. Now please tell me for certain what am I meant to do. And then Krishna recites this whole Bhagavad Gita, which is all the philosophy, the guidebook of our life. It's like an instruction manual for life. And he says, first he starts talking about karma yoga and how we can engage our activities in his service. First he speaks about how we're just doing ordinary materialistic activities. And then higher than that, there's activities for religious purposes to get some material benefit. And then higher than that is actually dovetailing our work in service to Krishna in some way. So that's what he was encouraging Arjuna to do. He spoke about Jnana Yoga, he spoke about Dhyana Yoga, different types of meditation, different ways, all the different yoga processes of how the living entity is meant to connect with Krishna, with God. And Arjuna is kind of representing all of us, because we all have these questions. The problems we're facing today are the same problems they had. The philosophy is the same. It's just that Arjuna is asking these questions for the benefit of all of us. So we're here in our life, and we're taking the lessons. And so Krishna is speaking about karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and then bhakti yoga, the highest of all, which is the yoga of devotion, loving devotional service to Krishna. So and he speaks about how to do it, how to dovetail all our activities for Krishna, how to fill our mind up with Krishna, how to constantly meditate on him, constantly think of him, offer everything we do to him. And part of Bhagavad Gita is speaking a lot about the modes of material nature. That's the world we caught up in right now. So he speaks about the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. He speaks about different activities, different types of determination, different types of food. Anything that we find in this world actually can be classified as either in goodness, passion, or ignorance. So Krishna is giving Arjuna the building blocks of this world and what he's meant to do in this world. And then he speaks about working according to your nature. And he spoke about Varnashram, which is a system of dividing society based on the type of inclination each person has. It's not the caste system of higher or lower. It's a system of, if you're a teacher, then you should teach. If you're someone who's good at business, then you should do business. But don't take a businessman and make him a teacher, and don't take a teacher and make him a businessman. It's just about finding what your occupation is, your varna, your duty is, and acting in that way. And then ultimately, Krishna says, everything that we're doing, if it doesn't reach to love of God, love of Krishna, then it's missing the point. It's wasting time. So in this 18th chapter, Krishna has basically summarized the whole Bhagavad Gita that he spoke in the first 17 chapters, and he's just giving the highlights in one sense. So right before this verse that we're reading, he was speaking about, there's this verse, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Esyami Masuchaha. That's abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will protect you from all fear. Do not fear. So Krishna is saying that instead of getting caught up with this religious practice or that religious practice or any kind of thing that you think might bring you closer, just surrender to me. That's his final word in Bhagavad Gita. And after that, he speaks about the highest thing one can do is actually to share the message of Bhagavad Gita with others. So after all of this volume of knowledge, which actually didn't take him very long to tell Arjuna, but it takes us very long to assimilate it and read it and understand it. It could take us a whole lifetime. Now he's saying, have you heard this with an attentive mind? Is your ignorance now dispelled? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is speaking about the guru and disciple relationship. Krishna is acting as the guru of Arjuna. Initially, relationally, Krishna and Arjuna are cousins. They're first cousins. And in that cousin relationship, they have a natural friendship. Like, think of us with our cousins. My cousins are my best friends. We get along. We're just friendly with each other. So that was the relationship. But now in chapter 2, when Arjuna was in total anxiety, totally distressed, he said, now I'm a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I'm your disciple. So that means he's changing the relationship in one sense. He's kind of actually expanding it, because friendship is one level, but spiritual master, guru and disciple is like another level of a relationship. It's the highest relationship. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, in verses 41 and 42, what happens is that Krishna is actually showing Arjuna how he is the creator of this whole universe, how basically he encompasses everything. He's in everyone's hearts. He's showing him the result of the battle. Everyone's going to be destroyed because Krishna has already arranged it. It's not that Arjuna is actually doing something wonderful. Krishna is the one in charge, and he's arranged that the battle is going to go a certain way. And Arjuna is simply going to be an instrument. He's just going to be performing the work that Krishna is already arranging. And when he's showing Arjuna this massive form where he's devouring all the warriors, and he's got so many heads and so many hands, and that's his actual universal form, Arjuna was realizing, oh my word, now he's feeling embarrassed because he took him just as his friend, just as a cousin, just laying on the same bed, joking. And now he's like, oh my God, you're in charge of the whole universe. And then he's asking, please forgive me for my offenses of not understanding who you are. So that initially they were friends. Now he's in the Bhagavad Gita at the beginning, he takes him as his guru. And there's a quote by Srila Prabhupada that says that the best friend is the spiritual master, because he says from the blazing fire of confusion, that is best friend. So this relationship of guru-disciple, it actually includes friendship in it, but it's so much more and deeper because there's a relationship of trust. It's with the most important thing in our lives, our spiritual journey, our eternal connection. So we may ask ourselves, after reading this, or maybe just in our lives we've had this question, why should we have a guru? Why should we have a spiritual teacher? Sometimes when we're trying to share Krishna consciousness with others, we're like trying to distribute literature on the street. So many times we meet people and they say, no, I'm spiritual in my heart. I don't need this. I'm spiritual in my heart. And that's great, but if someone was going to operate on your body, like a doctor or a surgeon, and they said, no, I didn't study anything, in my heart, I know how to do things. I know how to operate on a person. Would you trust them? Would you think, yes, please operate on me? No, you'd want them to have learned from a teacher. So for everything in life, we need a teacher. We need someone to guide us. And we take a teacher for all kinds of things. We're getting life coaches. At work, we have some kind of coach or mentor that shows us how to do our job. In school, we take a teacher, a very literal teacher, our school teacher. And in so many things, if you want to learn an instrument, you have a teacher. So why are we not taking this most important journey of our life, which is our spiritual journey, the eternal journey that's going to take us from this world to the next world? It's something that outlives this one life. Like if I have a music teacher in this life, that's just for now. I can just learn how to play music now, but I cannot carry that over into my next life. But the spiritual master is someone that's taking you on your eternal journey back to the spiritual world. So this is the most important time where we need a teacher, the most important aspect of our lives, and therefore it's vital to have a spiritual teacher. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this verse that says, the spiritual master can be compared to the lower kindling stick, the disciple to the upper kindling stick, and the instruction given by the guru to the third stick placed in between. The transcendental knowledge communicated from guru to disciple is compared to the fire arising from the contact of these, which burns the darkness of ignorance to ashes, bringing great happiness both to guru and disciple. So it's saying that, in the purport to that verse, Srila Prabhupada's disciples say that just as contact of two pieces of wood cause friction and it creates a fire, so contact of a sincere disciple and a bona fide guru can create the fire that will destroy our material life, that it will create that spiritual fire within us. And there's this very special verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 19, verse 151, which says, Brahmanda Brahmite kon bhagyavana jeev, Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata bij. It says that every living entity is just wandering in the universe. They're either taking birth in the higher planets and enjoying nicely, or they're taking birth in the lower planets and suffering, and it's all based on their karma. But if one is fortunate, then by the grace of Krishna, they will come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. And by the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, they will get the seed of devotional service. So the biggest thing we get from the guru is the seed of devotional service. It said that actually that seed is already within every living entity. Everyone is naturally a devotee of Krishna. Jivara Swarupai Krishnera Nitya Das. Every living entity is eternally, constitutionally a servant of Krishna. But what the guru does is they unlock the process for us. They unlock the process of how we can actively execute devotional service. And that's what we're getting from the spiritual master. Now, we might be seeing in this verse and in just all these verses that we're speaking about the word bona fide. Like, what does bona fide mean? So the way we understand it from Srila Prabhupada is that a bona fide guru is one who is coming in the line of disciplic succession from Krishna. It's not a made-up guru. It's not a self-made guru. We have a lot of that in the world. I'm self-made. I'm a self-made businessman, a self-made millionaire. But one cannot be a self-made guru. That doesn't exist. A guru, the purpose of a guru is that they're passing down teachings that they have learned as it is from their teacher. And their teacher has to also be bona fide and be passing down instructions that they've learned all the way up from Krishna. So we're very grateful we have Srila Prabhupada here, who is a bona fide guru. We have the disciplic succession from Krishna, and we can trace who his teacher is, and who his teacher is, and who his teacher is, all the way back up. And the guru is not a psychologist or a fortune teller. Sometimes we go to a guru and say, please tell me, what should I do? What should I do to have the best material life? That's not their purpose. They're not a psychologist. They're not a miracle worker. Sometimes we see that to impress people, a great personality may show off some mystic power. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. Sometimes we have, there's very powerful personalities in the world, and they may show off some kind of power, and we think, oh, this must be God, or this must be like a bona fide guru, because they've shown some opulence, some magic, almost like magic. But that's not actually what the point of a guru is. They're here to give transcendental knowledge and guidance in our spiritual life. They're not here to create gold from thin air. Sometimes people used to ask Srila Prabhupada, what miracle are you performing? Like, what's your miracle? Because they have this personality and that personality who are all doing things. And Srila Prabhupada said, my miracle is that I've turned all these people who had very degraded lives into saints. I've made them live a saintly life. Now that in itself is a miracle. It's a very important miracle. It's one where the heart is transforming. Not that we still desire, we want gold, and then we still have material desires and we still want more gold. This is a transformation of heart where actually our desires turn from material to spiritual. We're not worried about material anymore. We just want Krishna. And that's what Srila Prabhupada did and is continuing to do in this world. You can see with his disciples how much they gave up to take up the life of Krishna consciousness, because he inspired them to, but also because with his purity, he was able to transmit that experience to them. They were experiencing a higher taste, and that's why they could take it up. So sometimes the guru will tell us, will give us some practical advice, but it's not material. It's just advice on how best to execute our spiritual life. That's what the spiritual master is meant to do, give guidance on how to advance in Krishna consciousness, not in how to have our business grow, or any kind of how to get married or how to do anything mundane. Any advice they give us is going to be based on how can we be best situated to serve, to maximize our devotional service and our Krishna consciousness, and to utilize our life in the best way possible. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada says that if Arjuna said he didn't understand, Krishna would repeat the whole Bhagavad Gita to him again. Imagine that. After all of this thick book, if Arjuna eventually said, I don't understand, Krishna would repeat it. And it's reminding me of what Srila Prabhupada said about the guru, that he is willing, he does whatever it takes to bring his disciple, his student, back to Krishna. That means if it takes lifetimes, the guru will arrange. He will either personally come or he will arrange for someone to keep guiding you, to keep guiding us in our spiritual life. So the guru never rests. It's an eternal commitment. It's an eternal relationship. And this is the only relationship actually that stands the force of time. It's not like our relationship with our family even. It's higher than that, because it lasts, it's eternal. And it's fully based on Krishna consciousness. It's not a tinge of material thought or material motivation in it. Like in this world, when we get into any kind of relationship, whether it's romantic relationship, friendships, anything, there's always this mood of like, what am I getting from it? You know, like I want this because I'm getting something from it. But with the spiritual master and disciple, the spiritual master is purely a giver. He's just giving. And the disciple becomes so conquered that he also wants to purely be a giver. He's not there because he wants some material thing from the guru. So it's a very special relationship to have. My spiritual master used to quote Tamal Krishna Goswami, who's another disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he said that the guru gives the disciple a greater vision than what they would have come up with on their own. So that means if you think your life is going to be like this, the guru says, actually, you can be here, but spiritually. So the guru, in that sense, unlocks our potential. If we look at Arjuna in this, we can see what an expert disciple he is. In the next verse, he will say, my illusion is now gone. I'm ready to execute your order. I'm ready to follow your instruction. And I was thinking about myself and how it would take more than one Bhagavad Gita conversation for me to reach that point. But how amazing is Arjuna? He's the ideal disciple, that he's been instructed and he's just taking it up. Like, this is it, now I'm going to follow your instruction. I wish we could all be like that. At least I wish I could be like that. So Arjuna is displaying the qualities of an ideal disciple. It said that when we approach the guru, we should not go in a challenging mood. We should inquire with submission. So there's this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vetatvam somyatat sarvam tatpatastad anugrahad pruyusnigdasya shishyasya guravo guyam apyuta. And because you are submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Therefore, you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from them. So in this verse, the sages of Naimisharanya are glorifying Sutta Goswami before he recites the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's highlighted here that it's because he is gentle and submissive. Because he has these qualities, snigdasya is the word, meaning gentle and submissive, that shishyasya, you're a gentle, submissive disciple. And that's why you've received all the favors from your spiritual master. They've bestowed it, your spiritual masters, because you are so gentle. So Arjuna here displays the same mood of being a gentle, submissive disciple. And he says when the Guru is pleased, he will just bestow all benedictions on the disciple. When we're just mental speculators, when we're just thinking on our own, then we're not pleasing anybody and there's no way to advance. But Arjuna has those three qualities: pranipat, submission, pariprasna, inquiry, and sevaya, service. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. That's from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 34. And it means just try to learn the truth by approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls will impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So these three things, inquiry, submission, and service, are key to be a disciple. And I was listening to this amazing class by Keshava Swami. I don't know if anybody here has heard it. It's called 6 Kinds of Disciple. He gave it right here at this temple 2 years ago. And I take a lot of inspiration from that class because one thing that he mentioned was the system of parampara that we're following, where we have a teacher and they have a teacher and they have a teacher all the way back up to Krishna. It's not just transferring knowledge as much as that is what's happening. It is transferring knowledge, but more than that, it's a touching of hearts. So the disciple touches the heart of the guru, and when his heart is touched, he opens his heart and reveals his heart to the disciple. And when the heart is revealed, the disciple can then understand the heart of the guru, and then his own heart becomes filled with that mood. And then later on, someone else will come to touch that disciple's heart, and then he'll open the heart and transfer the mood to that disciple. And that's how parampara is happening. That's how this system of disciplic succession, of having a guru and teacher, and it continuing onwards is going on. So every disciple touches the heart of the guru, and every subsequent disciple is touching the heart of their guru. And that's how the disciple learns the truth. So it's a transferal of mood also. It's taking the mission of our guru to be our own mission. It's whatever is dear to our spiritual master must become dear to us. Their mission is our mission. So there's this verse that says that the secrets of Dharma are hidden in the hearts of the Vaishnavas. And that's why when we touch the Guru's heart, then the secrets get revealed to us. There's also, in the scripture, I'm not really sure exactly which scripture, but there's a description of different types of Guru. And they give a comparison with a bird, a fish, and a tortoise. So the bird Guru is like a very nurturing, very close, personal type of guru, like the way the bird, like a mother bird will feed her young. She'll be very much taking personal care, always feeding, being very close. And then that compares to how a guru would take someone and give them a lot of association, a lot of instruction, a lot of personal care to allow them to grow in their spiritual life. Then there's the fish guru. A fish is always watching and protecting. They have a big eye in the water and they can see everything. So that is like when a guru is watching the disciple and protecting them, but not closely, just from afar. And then there's the tortoise guru. And he said that the tortoise lays eggs and simply meditates on the well-being of the young. That means the tortoise is not there. It just meditates. And that's when the guru just kind of leaves and prays for the well-being. He's always thinking of the well-being, but he cannot always be personally present with the disciple. And we see this in our spiritual journey, that at the beginning, we're more like the bird. We need the bird guru. We need that personal nourishment, very close connection, lots of care, lots of feeding in that way. And then as we grow and we can walk in our own 2 feet in one sense, the guru is watching us from afar, making sure we're okay. And then later on, maybe the guru has to leave the planet even. Like Srila Prabhupada had to leave the planet when his disciples were just, 30-year-olds or younger. And then it's his meditation and his prayer that's sustaining the disciple, because it's an eternal relationship. At the end of life, when the guru leaves, it's not over. He's still there, he's still protecting, he's still giving. And then in that same lecture by Keshav Swami that I was speaking about earlier, he describes, this is another place in scripture that's describing the 6 kinds of bad disciples. So we find out what we shouldn't be. There's a disciple that's known as the bee-like disciple. What does a bee do? The bee flies from flower to flower just taking nectar, and that's it. They're floating around. So it's describing someone who's very fickle. They're not committed. They take a guru, but they're not committed to the guru. They just take some nectar here, take some nectar there, and go everywhere, but cannot keep that commitment. And he was saying that sometimes they show very gloriously, oh, my guru, from this day on, I'm yours forever. But then it doesn't last, never to be seen again. So that's one kind. Oh, I thought you raised your hand. And then another type of bad disciple is the arrow-like disciple. So this is described as someone who pierces the heart of the guru, not in a good way. So they cause pain by words or actions to their guru. Instead of fighting with the material energy, with Maya, they actually end up fighting with the guru. They turn around and shoot the arrow at the guru, and they violate the guru's direction. And then the third type of bad disciple is the astrologer disciple. It's someone who takes the guru's instruction, but says, I'll only follow it when everything is aligned. The stars are aligned, all the circumstances has to be favorable for me to follow the guru's instruction. And we see in the example of Srila Prabhupada that he did not do that. He took his guru's instruction as his life and soul, as it's meant to be. And he didn't have good health. He was aging, he was old, he had heart attacks on the ship, but still he did whatever he could to execute the order of his guru. Not waiting for everything to be perfect, because circumstances are never going to be perfect to do something. I can identify myself, I do fall in this category, because there's some things I was waiting for the opportune time, and then sometimes you just miss it. If we don't take the instruction now, we miss the opportunity when it's most favorable, because we think I'm waiting for a more favorable opportunity. And the fourth type of disciple, bad disciple, is lazy disciple. So this is when disciple knows what to do, they know all the instructions, but they don't have the enthusiasm or energy to actually carry it out. They just cannot generate that enthusiasm. And a good disciple is one who doesn't waste a moment. Avyartha kaladvam. Not a moment is wasted outside the service of Krishna. So that's the ideal disciple. And then there was, the fifth type was a disciple who says, what, just me? Why should I do it? Like sometimes we see something and we say, why should I do it? Nobody else is doing it. Like Srila Prabhupada, if he said that, nobody is taking up the desire of Bhakti Siddhanta to go all over the world and spread Krishna consciousness. Why should I do it? then where would we be? We wouldn't have anything. So that type, which I also identify with in some ways, that's bad disciple. We should do it because nobody else is doing it. If no one's fulfilling the order of our guru, then let us try. And then the sixth type is the pass the buck disciple. One who knows all the instructions, but tells it to other people. Just tells other people to follow it without themselves following it. So these are, for me, this was like attack. I felt attacked because myself, I can definitely identify with some of these, but it's always a good reminder of what not to do. So there's a verse in the Svetavatar Upanishad that basically says that we can only actually understand the scripture if we take shelter of a guru. It says, Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deva tata guru tasyeta katita hyarta prakashante mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So when we have that mercy, when we have that implicit faith in the Lord and the Guru, then we can understand the scripture. And here in our movement, in our Krishna conscious society, we're very fortunate that we have Srila Prabhupada, who is the foremost, our foremost guru. He's the preeminent Shiksha guru of everyone in this movement. So even if we don't have a guru that's with us currently living, or we haven't found our guru yet, we have Srila Prabhupada's instructions. And his foremost instruction is that we should spread the message of Krishna. And he's following, as we can see, Krishna's instruction. Because in chapter 18, verses 68 and 69, Krishna says, "For one who explains the supreme secret, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than him, nor will there ever be one more dear." So this is Krishna, God himself, saying the closest person to him, the person that's most dear, is someone who is spreading the message of Bhagavad Gita all over the world. And that's what Srila Prabhupada did, and that is what he tells us to do. And especially for anyone who is born in India or of Indian descent, and we know that because we've been in touch with Bhagavad Gita from the time we're young, we're born into it, like this is our book. Lord Chaitanya says, he tells all of his followers that, he says, Bharata bhumite haila manusya janma yar, janma sartaka karikara para upakar. One who has taken his birth in the holy land of India, Bharatvarsh, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. So Lord Chaitanya specifically instructs people of India or Indian descent, people that know Bhagavad Gita from the beginning, to take up this mission and spread Bhagavad Gita all over the world. And we have the example of Srila Prabhupada, we have the example of his disciples, and we have of their disciples and their disciples. So we're just trying to do something small to contribute to that mission of teaching Bhagavad Gita all over the world. So please, if anybody doesn't have Bhagavad Gita, please get one. And then also pass it along and be part of this mission of Lord Chaitanya, which is that we spread this message all over the world to everyone we know. Hare Krishna. I will leave some time for questions or comments from anybody, if there is anything. Yes.
Thank you so much for this insightful class. If one takes shelter of a guru, early on and feels like as they're growing within their practice, they don't resonate with that guru anymore, and they find another guru who they feel more called to and more attached to, what does one do in that situation?
That's such an interesting question, because when you were speaking about it, I thought of two different scenarios. There's the scenario where you think, okay, I have a guru, and then as I grow, oh, actually, I don't really need this guru anymore. I want some other person on the path. Now, we've seen that happen, and that's actually not That's not advised because Guru is eternal. And sometimes if we think now, I know more than my Guru, basically this one's not going to teach me anything further. That's a very offensive mentality, and we should guard against that, because that's just showing pride is developing in us. But that's one mentality. But then there's another approach where okay, you choose a Guru, this is your Guru, and then as you're growing, you're noticing that you're actually inspired by others also. Then it's not a question of this or that. It's a question of, okay, I have many people that inspire me in my spiritual life, and that's fine. It said that we have one Diksha Guru and many Shiksha Gurus. So there's Diksha and Shiksha, two types of Gurus. Diksha is the formal initiating Guru. And Shiksha is anybody that you that you follow their instructions. Anyone who instructs you nicely and you follow their instructions, you're inspired by them, they're Shiksha. So sometimes you find that people are initiated by one person, but they end up taking a lot of instructions from others, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes it helps because you're cared for in many ways. You're cared for by many people. And having multiple Shiksha Gurus is fine. And you may feel like at different phases of life, because of just your services and who you're in touch with, you have more association of a particular person who's not your Diksha Guru, and that's also fine, because your Diksha Guru will be happy that you're sheltered in some way, as long as the Shiksha Guru doesn't say anything different from the Diksha Guru. That's the thing. Because everyone's following Srila Prabhupada, who's following his Guru, all the way back up to Krishna, then the essence of the message is going to be the same. The details might differ because time, place, and circumstance, or because of the different phase of your life that you're in and the specific services you do. But they won't say anything against the order of your Diksha Guru. And I've heard of people where the Diksha Guru was very encouraging of the disciple having Shiksha Gurus and other association, because it's also they're not always going to be there physically in person to guide. So it's nice to have more shelter. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we can end here then. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.